Okay, well, speaking of change, let's talk about the offseason now because that is where we're at. We're in full transfer portal swing, unfortunately.
Can I just say this? I hate this time of the year
Oh God.
so
Yeah,
much.
Can I
it's
second that? Are you
yeah.
thirding it?
I'll
Uh,
third it. Yeah, it's too much. If you want to try to keep up with every injury and keep up with any time a team reaches out to a player,
Look at this 6'2" point guard from Grand Valley State who shoots 38%
right?
from three.
Let me tag Memphis in every post.
Yeah,
Memphis is
like
going
the
after
portal
him.
report, and I love my guys at the portal report. They know I love them, but there's a list of like 55 schools that have been in contact with some random shooting guard from freaking St. Francis of Pennsylvania. Like
Right.
I can't do it. I can't
No.
keep up.
Because
No,
invariably, what happens, Christian, is we get hit with has Memphis reached out? I
Right.
don't know.
Right.
Like what? I hate it.
No,
I hate
it
it
is.
so much.
It is absolutely exhausting and impossible to keep up with. But that is the time that we're in now. We know Memphis is going to have a lot of change this year between a couple of guys that have already entered the portal, guys that are out of eligibility, and so if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the bottom of the screen says biggest portal needs for the Tigers. If you're listening, the answer is if you're looking for specific names of players, I am not
Tune
going
out
to give
now.
any of them.
Yeah,
Like you've come to the wrong you've come to the wrong spot because I'm not giving specifics. I'm not doing that. I feel like we've played into this for so long now where we start trying to
I'm sick of it.
give names. Like I can think of the last 2 years of us doing this podcast and talking about this team during the transfer portal time. We've probably thrown out 100 names, maybe 2 or 3 of them have ended
yeah.
up in Memphis.
Like, brother,
it is
the days are done where I'm following Demaria Franklin's
right.
recruitment for 2 weeks.
Right.
I can't do it.
No.
The
I
days are
can't give you
done.
updates on Demaria Franklin and where he's going to commit to.
No, it is.
I'm
It is
sick
the
of it.
definition of pissing in the wind to try to keep up with this stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you're looking at who could potentially be returning for this team.
Yeah.
Really, all that matters is PJ Hagerty, in
All
my
that matters.
opinion. Like outside of that, if you lose everybody else and keep PJ, you've got a centerpiece, you got a building block. I think you're fine if you keep him. You've got some people. I saw a tweet that I think it was Gabe reposted it, something about him potentially being a second round pick, and
Yeah.
it
Come
no,
back to school.
he needs
That's
to
for
be
you.
back. He needs to come back. He's one of the best players in college basketball. We don't know what his NBA career looks like. Sounds pretty similar to Kendrick Davis from a couple of years ago. Just stay, come back, be an All-American again, be a finalist for all the top awards in the
For the
country.
wooden, for
And
the
Yeah.
If he shows that he can shoot the three ball at another 38 to 40% clip, I mean, he may get way more looks. He may get a way
Right.
better opportunity.
Right. So that's all that matters to me. So like if you're asking what's the biggest needs, it's everything outside of PJ Hagerty. But I think the thing that is encouraging is we really saw Penny build a solid team this year. So there's nothing to us, I believe, at this point that says he can't do it again. He found the right kind of guys this year, did the right things, pressed a lot of the right buttons to get Memphis, a regular season title, a conference tournament title, and into the tournament. Past that, for as much hell as I gave it in the first segment, once you get into the tournament, it is the biggest roll of the dice.
Yeah.
It really is. Unless you're a Duke or a Florida, one of the best 5 or 6 teams in the country, you're rolling the dice in every single game. So I think he's proved that he can do it. He can put a team together. He can lead a team. And so I think at this point, we kind of just have to trust where he goes, what direction he goes, and what players he ends up landing.
Now, I'm curious about this, and Kenny, I honestly want your opinion on this.
Okay.
Because you see that team in practice, and you're around like Penny a little bit more than us. I'm curious, like the plan for next year, if you do retain PJ Hagerty, in regards to what do you pair up next to him? Do you want another guy like Tyrese Hunter to take most of the ball handling duties for most of the possessions down the floor, or and bear with me here, because this could be really good or really bad. Do you want PJ Hagerty to just be the do everything guy? Because I think he's capable of it. It's just, do you want him to have that responsibility on his back if you do bring him back to school?
So
Don't fix it.
I had a really good conversation with some people in the NBA about PJ Hagerty and kind of what he needs to do, right? Like what his NBA what GMs would look at, scouts would look at in terms of him. And one of the things that they said is he absolutely needs to check, go into the draft, go through that process, get his grades back, all that kind of stuff. But
He'd
they
have
said
to project as a point guard, though, as an
he would
on-ball type
absolutely
guy.
be a point guard. He would
So
absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's two ways to go about this in the portal.
And so if you're PJ Hagerty, you want the ball in your hands, right?
Correct.
Like you want the ball in your hands. And so if I'm Penny, I'm saying to him, you are going to have the ball in your hands 90% of the time when you're out there on the court, right? Because I just don't think he's a good enough shooter, but he is a good enough shot creator, playmaker, whatever you want him to do, do everything like you talked about. And that's kind of what he's comping at in a much, this is a dramatic comparison. And I know there's a lot of people are going to really hate on this one. But the way Donovan Mitchell plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers and for the Utah Jazz, the way that kind of that smaller statured, I think he's listed as like a shooting guard, right?
But with him, they also have Darius Garland.
But they also have Darius Garland, right? Who's an elite point guard. But you see him, Donovan in the NBA handles the ball, playmaker, shot creator, all those kind of things. Now, PJ's going to have to be able to shoot better to be able to stick in the NBA, right? He's going to have to be better with his decision making, have to be better in a lot of different ways. His speed on the defensive end of the floor has to be better. But I would suspect that they'll probably, one of the things that, and I think if you saw them in person, there was in 2021, Christian and I walked into practice one day and we were like, this is the biggest college basketball team I've ever seen in my entire life. Just monsters, every one of them. This was the smallest. This is one of the smallest teams I have seen in a very long time. You're starting three, I'm taller than, right? Like it's crazy.
He's listed at 6'6", he ain't 6'6".
Hell no.
He's literally eye to eye with PJ. I'd noticed that about halfway through the year. I'm like, somebody go fix that program height,
right?
For God's sakes.
And so for me, if I'm Penny, because he's got to balance this idea of getting PJ ready to go to the NBA kind of deal, which is what he's always been about. Penny's always been about helping develop to the next level, and also getting a team that can win, games for him and go deep into the tournament. You cannot do it with a guy Colby Rogers size playing at the small forward position. You got to get bigger all the way around. And so I could see them going after somebody who is a bigger two guard, somebody who shoots the ball well, somebody who defends well, somebody who's bigger all the way around, 6'5", 6'6", and then 6'9". They're missing that 6'9", 6'8", 6'7" small forward.
That length.
Aaron Scott from St. John's would have been perfect.
As bad as he was for the Tigers, a guy the size of Jaquan Walton, they've missed that. They don't have that. So I could see them doing that. I could see them going after. They just need
with PJ. I'm just interested to see, because there's a couple of ways you could go about that. Like, you could just say, we're putting the onus all on PJ, and we're going to try to surround him with other guys. We're going to make him our main ball handler, give him all that responsibility that Tyrese had this year as well. Or you could go get another Tyrese, or try to find somebody similar that could be the main facilitator of the offense. So I'm just curious how they go about that.
I honestly think the Tigers' offense works better with PJ's the ball in PJ's hands.
Okay.
I thought Tyrese, as much as we missed him in the tournament, he was super loose with the ball. I felt like he operated better out of being able to flare to the corners and hit threes.
Yeah. With PJ though, isn't it there's going to have to be a little bit of a switch of mindset if he's going to be on ball nearly 80 to 100% of the time, because he as much as I do think he is gifted in regards to getting his teteammates involved, being able to pass, but in the end of the day, he very much is like put my head down and go score first guy. That's what he is. He has super questionable decision making when the ball's in his hands sometimes. Sure. Right? Like the skip passes that he makes, the decisions that he makes, like which would sort of lean you to believe, okay, maybe go find another Tyrese Hunter.
Yeah. Maybe.
That would be what I did.
Is that what you would do? You get a smaller ball handler?
I think it just worked so well this year for the vast majority of the season that it's kind of hard to
just get one and
from
pray
that.
pray that the first, your top 2 point guard options don't get hurt. Is that
Right. Right. No, I think you got to find somebody like Tyrese that was a selfless player that wasn't worried about getting 10 to 15 shots per night, but could score if he needed to in a situation where PJ was off or having an off night. But with Tyrese, it just felt like, and I know sometimes he struggled with the ball, turnover wise, taking care of the ball, but it just felt like he brought such an ease and a calm over that team.
Yeah,
100%.
Which is what you have to have in a point guard and a leader. PJ's a little bit more.
He's a battering ram.
Yeah, he's a little more fiery. He's a little bit more
Yeah.
of a like for the most part plays like a true 2 guard. So like having someone to orchestrate, to run the show, to calm everybody down, to be the leader, like that's.
Yeah.
I feel like he needs that with him. I feel like it levels him out almost at times. So I know that's probably not where he ends up at the next level. He's too small to be a true 2 guard, but
yeah,
at this level,
if you want Memphis to be good, it probably best plan of action.
Then I would try to find someone similar to Tyrese.
Well, I'll say this, a quick little shameless plug for the Bluff City Media Discord. If you are interested in not hearing about every single player that is entering the transfer portal and how they fit with Memphis, get off X and come over to the BCM Discord. There's a name in the Discord right now that fits exactly what Christian just talked about.
Okay, don't throw that on here. I'll kill you.
Oh, I'm not.
I will reach through this screen.
Yes,
and
please go. You could.
Now,
have long reach.
Have y'all? Okay, so Baraka Koji and Jared Harris are now in the portal for those that haven't seen it. Baraka, he was going to get recruited over, and then in the end of the day, it's like I don't think he's ever going to get the opportunity to grow where he needs to grow as a player at Memphis. Just truthfully, he needs to grow offensively. He's never going to get those opportunities at a high level. So that makes sense. Jared Harris leaving sort of continues the trend of freshmen not really sticking it out at the University of Memphis, because I think they also think, well, Penny's going to go to the transfer portal and recruit over me. So like, let me be careful about how I spend my time. And I don't think the University of Memphis is perfectly placed to be able to build their program on freshmen. I think that being able to bring in your own freshmen and let them grow alongside you, I think that puts you in a different stratosphere as a basketball program. Look at Houston and what Kelvin Sampson's done over the years.
Yeah.
You see what it does for you. But I think you have to have a little bit more aura around your program. You have to have more success.
Yeah.
Like Houston does, Final Four, Elite Eight, for people to really sit around and wait their turn. And Memphis, the truth of the matter is, it's been a decade. They've won one tournament game. Right. That's not me clowning Penny, clowning the program. That's a fact. That is a fact of the matter.